Go.
And we're live. Welcome to the Spyshack podcast, where super fans of Survivor get together to talk about the latest episode of Survivor. Today we're talking about Survivor Ghost Island, Episode 7, Risk It for the Biscuit. My name is Doug, and I'm here with some incredibly intelligent and attractive people. Mark, how's it going?
I'm great. First of all, welcome back to the Spyshack Tarcast, you should say.
Yes.
And more so, you get an idol, you get an idol, you get an idol. Everybody gets an idol.
Except for Dominic.
Of course.
Yeah, so my word for this episode is going to be... delusion.
Oh. Nice. Kim, how are you doing? And what is your word for this episode?
Okay, I'm doing okay. And like I always say, I miss and I love my son every day. My word for today is clapping.
Clapping?
Yes.
I like it.
I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but that's my word.
I like it. I like it. And like I said, my name is Doug. I think my one word for this episode would be finally. Finally. Yes.
That's me clapping at that.
And we'll get into what all those mean, but we may as well kick off where the episode starts. The episode kicks off right at Malolo Beach. We kind of dive right in. A lot happens in this episode. So the first thing we see is Michael waking up with Malolo after tribal council, where James was just voted out. And he decides that his only chance at surviving is to find an idol. So he goes off hunting for an idol. Angela, Des, and Kellen all know he's doing this, and nobody follows him. Mark, what do you think of the three women's reaction to Michael going off and finding an idol?
Did they have a reaction? A reaction they did not.
Yes.
Yeah, so they just sat there and watched because God, there's three of us and there's one of him. What the hell is he gonna do?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what should have happened? Because we
don't
talked about
understand. Again, this has happened time and time again, and I'm following him. And that's it. I mean, you knew what he was doing. And yes, maybe you could not have stopped him from finding that idol, but at least you would know, or you could have a fighting chance of finding it before him. So it's aggravating when you have three people who literally did nothing. They honestly contribute nothing to the tribe other than numbers, and they don't even bother. Like, what I don't understand is, who cares if you have the numbers in your alliance right now in this group or majority? Why aren't you looking for an idol? Because tomorrow, your numbers won't be the same. So I get aggravated when people are lazy.
Yeah, the only correct response to this is to follow him and to babysit him and take turns. Because if Michael finds an idol, your only target is safe. Only one target, not your primary target, not your biggest target, the only target, right? So, get Andrea on his butt and babysit him all day long.
Andrea, you mean Angela?
No, Andrea Belke when she followed Malcolm.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I'm following. And you might look like a big B or a big A if you're doing it, but so what? It's $1 million. I want you gone.
Yeah,
and absolutely. I'm gonna follow you until you get so aggravated you stop looking for the idol.
Yeah. Patty's here.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Patty.
And Kim, we see that you're exactly right about the whether you find it or not, you still want to follow, because then you at least know, because Michael finds exactly what he's looking for. Michael ends up finding Ozzy's effing stick, which he reads a parchment describing that this, I can't wait to hear what you guys think of this, but this stick has been on Ghost Island for a decade, maturing into a real hidden immunity idol.
Oh my.
Kim, what did you think of this lore and this story that they put onto this idol?
I loved it, which it's just hilarious because if you see it, even if they saw it, I don't think they're gonna think it's an idol. So even if it was seen in his bag, they might think it's an effing stick. Mm-hmm. You really have to be a huge super fan to be able to figure out, wait a minute, that's the stick. from F, you know, that got what's her name? I'm gonna say it wrong.
Eliza
booted. I mean, she's like, it's an effing stick. How do you think this is an idol? So I find it funny that they turned it into an idol, you know, after it not being an idol. So to me, that was funny. I'm interested to see how Michael works it. Does he even tell anybody? I hope he doesn't. He's played a great game so far, and he keeps quiet about everything and still lying about his age. Mm-hmm. Day 18, he finds it, and he's 18 years old.
Yep. Mark, given the fact that Michael has already lied about one of these cursed items, what are the odds that anybody believes that this does what it actually does?
First of all, it's just the effing stick. So I mean, if people see it in his bag, they're gonna be like, oh, "What the hell is this?" They're not gonna. I mean, would you even remember what that stick looked like 10 years ago? I didn't.
I don't know. Well, and it looks different even because it's been burned and it's aged.
Yeah, but it looks like specifically clean for some reason.
But it still looks like a stick.
It's just a stick.
He can literally leave it anywhere, and they would think it's a stick. The only problem would be if it was left anywhere, they would throw it in the fire and burn it.
Yeah, but it's got burn marks on it, so that might be a little suspect to some people.
I don't think it would be. I really don't think anyone would figure that's an idol at all. Would you? Would you think that was an idol?
No.
It's so rustic, we'll say, that even if I knew the reference, I would still believe that Michael just made one to look like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I really do love the personification of the idols this season. It's just so fun. Yeah, it's like it's been sitting there. It's been retreating on Ghost Island, like gathering all this power, and now it is finally real. It's so good.
Fun to reminisce about, you know, huge mistakes of those in the past. And that was a huge mistake. I mean, not as much as the one we're gonna get into, but it was more like a dumb mistake compared to a huge mistake, as with Eric. Eric was huge. This was just like, sometimes you just believe in anything's an idol at that point because you're so desperate to have one that you convince yourself it is one.
But some people thought that, you know, they should have just left the stick, you know, the way it was. Like, it's just a fake idol. It shouldn't have real powers now. How do you guys feel about this?
Yeah, I think we'll probably touch on this a couple times in this episode because so many different advantages were given out in the same episode, and none of them work the exact same way as they did when they were originated, right? So I don't know necessarily how I feel. I think I feel differently for each one. I've struggled a bit with this idea of reversing the curse because I do think they've been very loosey-goosey with what is cursed, what's not cursed, and how you actually reverse said curse.
Yeah.
This one I'm fine with because I think since that stick's birth into the Survivor universe, I think it's been a star and people are happy to see it be the star that it deserves to be.
Yes, okay. I think that's how I feel too. I like that they reversed it and now it's an idol only because it's fitting at this point to make it an idol when it wasn't before, you know?
Yeah. It's very strange. I'm excited to get to the other advantages when we get there because I think there's meatier conversations with some of those other advantages. But let's dive into the reward challenge. We've seen it before. This is one that we saw last season, so very clear. They must have, you know, just had the set still ready to go. This is the one we saw from Triple H where they're doing the stacking balance challenge, but they're doing it as a team. So everybody has a rope, and they take turns putting letters onto a platform. Were you guys happy to see this challenge back?
I don't know if I would like this as a reward challenge because it used to be an immunity challenge. And so I don't know why this got sort of semi-downgraded, I guess. So...
Yeah, I like this challenge. I just was wondering when Michael's team, I wondered why, because all the girls probably have equal amount of strength, why these girls didn't just hold the rope and allow Michael to do all the letters, because Michael's stronger. So, I mean, it's easier when you figure all the girls have about the same strength to hold it evenly, and maybe just have Michael go back and forth.
I don't know if it's possible. Did you guys, I'm not sure. Did you guys see, like, did the letters have to start in the same place every time? Because I know at the very, very beginning of the challenge, they all start with a certain number of
2 letters each. Yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't last season, or HHH, wasn't there one person who basically did every letter?
That's when it's after the stack fell down and one person went to pick up everything and get it back to their station, and so there's one person with all the letters.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. So they could have done it. They would just they'd have to fail first.
They had to fail first.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's a decent enough strategy, especially if it worked last season.
Yeah.
But they also never saw this, right? So we're seeing things that we know, but they have no idea about. It's always interesting to think about that too, because for them, this is, even for the super fans, a brand new challenge.
Yeah, but like Yanuya figured it out. Like they figure out that strategy real quick, and you know that's why they're like one of the strongest tribes ever. Yeah,
Yanuya is very impressive. Navidi ends up pulling out the first place win in this challenge, so they end up winning steaks and chicken kebabs. And then Yanuya, who was actually, I figured, would have won this one because they were doing so well to begin with, ends up getting second, and they win chicken kebabs. I think the biggest notable thing during this challenge is that we begin to see the immediate downfall of Bradley when he sort of barks at Donathan, and then Donathan barks back.
Good for Donathan!
Yay! Yeah, Kim, talk about that. What were you thinking when that was happening?
Again, I know there's high stressful situations in Survivor, but it's just Bradley's constant approach to people. And Donathan is a good player. I mean, he's a lot better in challenges than I thought he'd be preseason. And I just don't get Bradley's approach to anything. And he said, and I want to say I can say this word because he said it on the show, and forgive me if I can't. He said, like, you know, part of my problem is like being a dick. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and like, you failed at this because you've been a huge one since the beginning, and then this is when you start seeing Dominic and Laurel and everyone saying, I don't know. You know, they were tired of him. And shortly after that, you see Bradley go, and he clapped at Donathan. I would have thrown Bradley in the effing fire.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that whole sequence of Bradley moments. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of them. But before we get to that, after the challenge is won, Navidi, the first place winner, has the opportunity to send somebody from either one of the second or third place tribes, which I thought was interesting, to Ghost Island. Did you guys, Mark, what did you expect? Did you think they were going to do rock draw, or were you expecting them to choose somebody?
I was expecting the rock draw, to be quite honest. I don't know why they were able to come up with solutions so fast.
Yeah, I thought a rock draw too.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess people kind of started knowing that there are advantages to be had there, but even then, even if you knew that there were advantages there, like, wouldn't you want somebody on your own tribe to have a chance to get it? And for them to have just this consensus is kind of weird. Weird.
I thought it was really, really strange, because I figured if they were going to pick somebody, they would have chosen somebody from the second place team, because even though you would have been taking somebody away from their reward, you wouldn't be giving the obviously weakest tribe some sort of power or strength or something, especially knowing you're coming into the merge. I understand what Chelsea was saying about, you know, it's somewhat of a mystery. We want to keep that mystery under wraps. They choose Kellen so that Kellen's the only one person they go to talk to. But when you're on different tribes from somebody, you don't know what's happening on that other tribe. So even though everything's been Naviti strong up to this point, a tribe that's facing adversity over and over and over has the potential to bond. So you don't know that Kellen's going to use whatever she may or may not find for you, especially if everybody is part of the you.
Yeah. And she's been there, what, twice now?
Yes.
Yeah, and so people are going to suspect that she has something, so she might be an early target. She might be an easy target for other people.
Yeah, very well could be. Especially if they get the sense that whatever she got isn't as, powerful as what she ends up playing for, which, spoiler alert, she ends up getting the item, right? So we see Kellen go to Ghost Island. We see that she breaks an urn and has the chance to play a game. We also see that this game now has a 66% chance of winning. Kim, what did you think of them upping the percentage of win for the game?
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
So Kellen had a chance to win, like her odds of winning were increased from the other folks. So everybody prior to her had a 50-50 shot. She had a 2 and 3 shot.
Yeah. I thought that was fair to do that. I will not lie. I wanted her to fail. I don't dislike Kellen. I think she's a very nice person. I find Kellen boring and overrated. And sorry, Randy. So I was hoping she didn't find it, especially because I'm so concerned about like Michael, who's my favorite, even though I knew he had the idol at this point. It still could potentially hurt his game, or it could just do nothing because an extra vote doesn't always mean anything in this game.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah. It's not always played right. I think stealing a vote is a whole lot more fun than an extra vote, because an extra vote sometimes means nothing. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, we see that Kellen ends up winning her game, and she gets what they described as Michaela's steal a vote, which Michaela never actually owned. It's the one that Michaela passed up because she was upset at a reward challenge. Yeah, so Sarah swooped in and took it. But what's weird about this one is that she doesn't steal a vote like Kim was talking about. She just gets an extra one. Do you think that the prize would have been the same no matter which thing she pulled? Or do you think that the 2 out of 3 had different prizes in them?
There's got to be 2 different things.
I would assume so.
I think one was nothing. Basically, you win nothing, go home. You get nothing.
Yeah, that's for
now
sure.
Now you lose a vote. One was the extra vote, and maybe the other one was the steal a vote, which I think steal a vote has way more potential than an extra vote, even though it makes no sense.
Do you think that one of them was Michaela's steal a vote and the other was Steven's steal a vote?
Probably. I mean, what else can you put in there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I wish that they would show us what she didn't get.
They'll be kind of giving it away, though. I mean, they can save it for a later thing.
They wouldn't be able to reuse it, right? So I'm looking in the chat, and Blake mentioned that they should have sent Chris, and then he also talks about Kellen turning the advantage down, and then getting an advantage.
Didn't get a chance, and she gets it anyway.
Yeah. So that idea that when Kellen turned it down, a lot of people thought that game should have rolled over.
I think this is the way they rolled it over.
You think so?
I think this is because she passed on it, and so they put in another advantage, and so this is now 2 out of 3.
Oh, now is that just going to? So it doesn't have anything to do with Kellen specifically. It has to do with that there was an advantage that wasn't used.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the game wasn't played last time, so it rolls over to this game.
I could buy that.
Let's see what happens the next time somebody comes with an advantage. Like, if the next advantage is another 50-50, then it's a rollover thing.
Yeah. What did you guys make of Kellen's reaction to being sent to Ghost Island? Because I think she acted the way you're supposed to, but I'm not sure if it was genuine or if she was doing what she was supposed to.
She's really hard to read most of the time as well, so I can't really tell. Like she has it's not like she's monotone, but everything she says has the same tone, so you don't know what tone she's speaking with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was hard.
It's hard to read because Kellen's one of the few people who knows what Ghost Island is. And knowing that she's not missing tribal council, I think I would be stoked to go to Ghost Island, right? Like you get alone time, you have fire made for you, you have food, you have a chance. Yeah, you have a chance at an advantage, and nobody else really knows what it is. So I don't know if she was acting or if that was a genuine, not wanting to be away from people. But I can't wait to find out.
Who else remaining in this game has been to Ghost Island?
Chris, Donathan.
Okay.
And that might be it.
And neither of them got any sort of advantage. So
right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. All right. So then we get to what Kim was starting to talk about at the Navidi camp. So we see the first place tribe enjoying their reward, and I should have put enjoying in air quotes because they wanted to relish in their victory and they wanted to be excited about it. And as Kim mentioned earlier, Bradley is yelling at people, literally clapping at Donathan because he doesn't think Donathan's paying enough attention. He gets snippy with Dom, and this is where he gives his confessional that the hardest part of being out on Survivor is not being a total dick.
It was like your words. I'm like, is he worse than this in real life?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope that this is something he recognizes in himself, and when he's fed and slept, he's able to tone it down.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
If
he's playing polite, then I'm nervous about what not polite is.
Yeah, I was watching that whole thing, and I was just like, "Girl, calm your tits."
Yeah, there's just listen. I can't completely judge because I don't know what I would be like if had I been hungry and tired and want to bathe and smell and tired of being around people, no privacy.
Yeah. I would be grumpy as hell too.
Oh yeah, without question.
I personally wouldn't show it. I mean, yeah. I wouldn't act out on it. I might have, RBF for days, but I won't say anything about it. It's like this is too much. This is too much.
So this might be looking ahead a little bit, but do you guys think Bradley had any idea that he was coming across the way he was? Because he talks about trying not to be a total dick. So there must be some sort of self-awareness there, but we don't know exactly what sort of prompted that confessional. So
he's self-aware through the confessionals. I just don't know why he's not doing anything about it.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. Very bizarre, because we don't see him apologizing to anybody.
No.
We don't see anyone calling him out outside of Donathan sort of snapping back in the challenge. And I was really, really surprised watching him at camp and have all of those people say nothing to him.
Mm-hmm.
They all managed him so well. It was like watching Kelly Wentworth talk to Abby Maria. Where does this patient come from? So I was really, really surprised. And then we even see the rest of his tribe on the beach talking about how crappy he was to them. And we saw Libby and Donathan excited at this. Kim, what did you think of this conversation? When you were watching it, did you think this was genuinely the whole group talking about it? Or was this, because everybody's there, they're playing Kumbaya?
I definitely think it was the group talking about really getting tired of Bradley. Because it affects you when someone's bad attitude and bad mojo and everything, it affects the group. Mm-hmm. So as a whole. So for me, yes, maybe he's a number, but at the end of the day, if this is how he behaves to people in his alliance, then he's going to be much worse later on. I think they were tired of him. I think that he was not self-aware of how he was coming across.
Yeah, it was very, very strange. Obviously, we'll see a bit more of that, but not before we visit in with our second place tribe, Yanuya, for pretty much, one big reason. We get a little bit of Chris confessional. Chris is kind of talking about how great this tribe is, how much they like to win. But the big piece of this segment on the show is that Wendell goes on an idol search and ends up finding what I really didn't expect, the Micronesia immunity necklace, which didn't really belong to Eric, but is now, it's now been assigned to Eric because it's the one he gave away to Natalie. Mark, what was your reaction to Wendell finding an actual immunity necklace buried in the ground?
First of all, that is a big hunk of thing.
Uh-huh.
How the F do you hide that thing from your tribe mates? Like, how did he get it back to his bag without people noticing? That's what I
have
wanted to
no
know.
idea. Because earlier we saw Michael. This is sort of comical. We saw Michael put the stick in his pants, sort of like cucumber style or whatever. And then we see
stick in your pants, or are you just happy to see us?
Right? That's exactly what he did. And then we saw Kellen take the piece of paper and put it in her bathing suit bottom as well, and then flatten it out. But where did Wendell put this? Where does this go?
I think they might just have to distract everybody else with their confessionals and have Wendell go back while they're doing that. That's the only way they can get it back without anybody seeing him.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
That thing is huge. Like you can't even like fold it or anything because it's just one big flat thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he probably hid it again where he found it, and then just maybe waited till he can get it back. I just don't know. You can't really hide that anywhere. Like, you can't hide it in your bag. It's just impossible.
Yeah, it's enormous. And I don't know where that huge bag that Kellen got came from, but it seems to be like the Ghost Island bag, not a personal bag. Because I don't think everybody has that huge bag. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah. When she came to the challenge, she had like this huge bag. So I'm assuming it's more of a Ghost Island thing. But what's funny about this immunity necklace is we saw two other advantages. We saw that they changed the power of it, right? Like it matured and it now whatever. This one, they like told the same story, but it's still just an immunity idol.
But it's now a hidden immunity idol. It's not a straight up, you put it on and you're safe kind of thing. You still got to turn it in.
That's true. I guess it's not a one-time, or it's not a one-round use. You can hold on to it. So I guess that's the difference. But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you like the stuff that they got this episode? I mean, we saw a ton of it.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a whole lot.
It is.
And this is all pre-merge.
Yeah.
So
they might cool it a little bit after the merge. I don't know.
Let's do an inventory, right? Because we know that Dom has a legacy advantage.
Yes.
He also has Andrea's idol.
Mm-hmm.
Michael has the effing stick.
Mm-hmm.
Kellen has a steal a vote, or an extra vote, rather.
Extra vote.
And Wendell has an immunity idol.
Mm-hmm.
And none of these are timed except the legacy advantage.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That is a whole lot. I think these people are going to survive to a point where it's going to be Advantage Geddon again.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think one of the things with Advantage Geddon is that we had returning players who are more comfortable, I think, sitting on an advantage because they're playing better social games. Mm-hmm. When you have new players, I wonder if they're antsier, right? And they get more nervous. So I wonder if Dom's going to play his legacy advantage next round because he's afraid to go out with it in his pocket. Or, Kellen's going to use her extra vote earlier than we might have seen returners do it. That's my hope, at least.
Mm-hmm. Blake wanted Wendell to act like it's a necklace and then put it around his neck so they think they can't vote for him.
Oh, just wear it, but not turn it in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I do like the idea of players making up stories about these things that have stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I loved Michael's move. It didn't pay off the way that he wanted it to, but I loved it because he took advantage of the circumstance. If Wendell could do the same thing, I'd be in.
Yeah.
I was uber excited that he found it. Because I'm a big Wendell fan, and we finally got more of a story about Wendell, singing happy birthday to his girlfriend and all that stuff. So I was really happy he found the idol.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because he's in my job. I was reading not just because he's in my draft. He's not at my job.
Yeah, Wendell's somebody who I still very much just like. There's not really a downside to Wendell. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there will be. He's just very rootable,
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
So,
Yeah.
And then before we get to the next immunity challenge, we do get a little bit of the Malolo camp, mostly to see them talk about how much it sucks to lose, and then to try to break their own curse by burning the Malolo name off of their flag. Kim, what do you think about this? It's sort of reminiscent of the Gabon changing the tribe name thing to like change the juju. Do you like that they did this? Do you think it's dumb? Do you not care?
I didn't really care. I thought it was fun for, I guess, TV. But it was okay. I mean, I like that they did it when Kellen wasn't there.
I didn't think about that until I rewatched it.
She's still cursed.
I like that. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with Kellen. She's a very nice person. Yeah. I just find her boring. And I don't think I think she's a little overrated, you know?
You know, Kim, I know last time I was on here, I was saying a lot of the same stuff, and that my opinion hasn't changed yet, but I do think that when the merge hits, I bet you and I are going to turn a bit on her, because I bet she's going to become a bigger character, bigger personality, or more important.
And I hope she does, because she's very nice, you know? And I not that I'm just going to get off subject real quick. I like Libby more, and I don't know why, because Libby is not someone I would normally root for. Sure. She's the Southern girl. She's just very different than who I would normally like. But I think that she plays a good game, and I like her more. I think she has a better game than Kellen. Right now, it could change.
There's something really exciting about what Libby could be. Not necessarily what she's done yet. I mean, she's done a little bit, right? And I think that's where the glimmer comes from. But did anybody else get sort of, maybe this was the Micronesia saturation happening, but did anybody else get sort of like Natalie Bolton vibes when she was like giving her confessional up against that tree with like her messy island hair? And
a little bit. Yeah.
She's kind of got like a deeper sort of like serious voice when she gives her confessional.
Yeah, I mean, she knows the game, and she's not that stupid blonde pretty girl that's there just for a filler. Like, we need to put a pretty blonde in the show so we can make our quota. I like that she plays the game. I like that she turned on Morgan. You know, so yeah, I like Libby. Didn't think I would.
Yeah, it's not somebody I would have expected to like, and so far I'm pleased. I'm not like hype or excited necessarily, but I'm like, I'm waiting with anticipation.
I mean, I really like Michael and Wendell. And I really like Chris. I know he's obnoxious, but I don't care.
This will be our last chance to talk about Chris, so I will echo that, because I also love whatever it is that Chris is on my TV screen. Like, it's just whatever it is, whatever is happening, I'm here for it.
Me too. Keep me Chris. You know, I don't think Randy likes him, but
which is
Randy.
Randy is Randy. Don't be so hard on him.
Well, it's not a true Tarcast reunion if we don't talk a little bit of crap on Randy. So
that's true. That is very true.
Well, let's get to the immunity challenge, because I'm typically not somebody who gets excited about the immunity challenges, but I actually really liked this one because it was very straightforward and it was a water challenge, which are two things that I love, right?
And so Dominic was hilarious.
Yeah, Dominic, there were some really great moments in this, both humorous and sort of like triumphant, and like it was a good challenge. But it was really simple, right? Swim out, fetch the rings, swim with the rings, and then toss the rings. And that was it.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm into it. What did you guys think? Mark, did you like this?
Nice and simple, not too complicated, and you know, it was a very exciting finish for sure.
Yeah, and no puzzle.
No puzzle. And it's beautiful. The water is just so beautiful. When you see them jumping in the water or falling like Dominic, I don't know what he was doing, like, because it wasn't a jump, it wasn't a dive.
It looks like he fainted off that thing into the water.
So weird. It was so weird.
But you also saw, and I don't remember if it was you or Randy that said, and it might have been Randy, that he thought Dev couldn't really swim. And I think you kind of saw it there, because she didn't look very strong. When she kind of jumped in and she kind of like just like went down. Like, there wasn't...
there was a moment at the top of that steps or whatever that was. There was a moment where she hesitated, and I think it was Kellen who said, like, just go, like, just do it, you know? And then you could kind of see when she got into the water, I think she was struggling a little bit. So I think it was Randy who might have had that theory, and I think he might be right.
Yeah, I think
she sat out in a swimming challenge too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. We would be remiss not to talk about that dive though, because oh my gosh, Michael beasted this challenge.
Yeah, he beasted it.
Like, I'm willing to say, and I don't think anyone would disagree with me, so this is not a hot take, but like, Michael could have been on a tribe by himself and won that challenge.
Yes.
No one else did anything.
Yeah, he did all the diving. He tossed all the rings, and like, what can he not do?
Yeah,
he literally did it all on his own. He won because if it was, those girls contributed nothing.
Yeah, they fetched the rings, and that's pretty much it.
That's it. They really contributed nothing. Michael is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that, and he's really pretty. I do think that he will come back. I think there's no way they won't miss an opportunity bringing someone like Michael back. The problem is that, like, he can't lie about his age.
Yeah. I don't think he'll need to a second time, but I do think I'm with Randy on this. I don't know if Michael agrees to come back, because I think if he makes it far enough in this game, like, unless he's really, really torn up about coming short, right? I don't know if he needs to come back or if he'll feel compelled to come back. I'm just not sure. I'm not convinced. I'd love to see him, though.
Yeah, me too.
There was some tone there, and I liked it.
You know, it was funny. Is I was at a friend's house the other day, and I was like, "Isn't this guy really good looking?" They all said yes. My friend's mother, who's like 70, said yes. I go, he's 18. Okay, he's a child. I don't know what he ate, but definitely no.
Yeah, it's really, really wild. There was it's so funny to look at like literally anyone else's pictures from when they were 18. Like, not a single one of them is as like majestic as Michael is diving into the water. Like, no one.
Nothing. He's phenomenal. Perfect casting. So whoever put him on the show, because he's not just like always great to look at. He's really good in all aspects of the game.
I fully expected an Eddie 2.0. I didn't think Michael was going to bring anything to this season. And as it turns out, he's one of the more passionate players on this season. He's also been to the most tribal councils. So, I mean, there's a reason for it, right? But I'm very impressed so far.
Me too. He's really, really good. And he was one of my last picks. My second to last. I picked him before I picked Chris. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I hesitated so much was because of his age. I said, there's only an 18-year-old kid is going to get this game. He just graduated high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I think Michael has put to rest the idea that because he's 18, he can't win. Mark, do you think that if he got to the final tribal council and said, I'm actually 18, he could still win?
I think so. I think that will really impress the others. Like, you're 18 and you did all this, and you know it's impressive. It's impressive,
Very.
And it's just another chance for them to set some sort of record, like the youngest win ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why not.
I don't think I ever quite like. I like Julia Sokolowski a lot. I don't think I ever thought that she could win. I definitely never thought that Will Wall could win, although his cast members have said otherwise. But I do definitely think that Michael could pull it off if he ended up in the end.
I don't know. He's too much of a threat to keep at merge, though. So,
well, if he manages to make it, but if he got there, I think he would stand a good chance. One thing that's interesting, and I don't know, this will be fun to watch, but this whole season has been so focused on reversing the curse and breaking the curse, and we just saw Malolo burn part of their flag. But if the curse of Malolo is that they keep losing, and they broke that curse, does that mean that that Michael, Donathan, and Laurel are no longer cursed and make it deep into the game?
Yeah, I don't know. We might be reading too much into this, though.
I'll cross my fingers.
I think that Michael has a good relationship with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So out of all of them, I think Michael for now has the best chance of going forward, more so than Laurel.
Oh,
even though right now I think Michael has better relationships with people than Laurel.
Yeah,
not that Laurel's not great.
It's tough because Laurel hasn't lost in a long time. And so I don't know, like we know that she has a good relationship with Donathan, but they're from the same tribe. We think that there's a good relationship there between her and Wendell based on some interactions that we've seen. But we haven't really seen a whole lot of other stuff with her and other players, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any standout moments, but I can't think of any. So I don't know, maybe. I think I would still put my money on Laurel going further. But I don't know. We'll have to see. So the results of this challenge, because I realized I never actually said it, is Yunuya comes in first and Malolo comes in second, breaking that Malolo curse, right? So they send Navidi to Tribal Council.
Before we get to Tribal Council, could we discuss how good Donathan was on that challenge? He was
he was good too.
He was close.
Yeah.
I was proud of Donathan.
Like the ring toss game, he was really good at that.
Yeah, he was.
He really was. I was impressed.
No, yeah, Donathan definitely deserves a shout out for that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Him, Wendell, Chris, and Michael really like beasted that challenge.
Chris beasts everything. I mean, he still has not. I mean, next week will be his first time at Tribal.
Ooh, and it'll be interesting to see if he survives it, but we'll find out. So back at Navidi camp, we don't get a ton of stuff because we've actually already gotten a lot of it. But there are some sort of standout things. We get another obnoxious quote from Bradley where, Dominic is trying to apologize for not being very well in the water or doing very well in the water. And Bradley makes this side comment of, I think maybe you had too much coffee. And then everybody face cracks, like, like bad timing, dude. And then we get the back and forth, right? So we see that Dom debates the value of keeping Bradley. Bradley proposes Libby, and everyone's like, yeah. And then Chelsea gives her word to Libby that that's not going to happen. Then Chelsea's not sure if she should vote out Bradley or Libby. Like, it's interesting. There's a lot of back and forth. But ultimately what it boils down to, Dom sums it up. He says keeping Libby is basically keeping a dangerous opponent, and keeping Bradley is keeping a dangerous ally. Mark, what do you think of Dom's sort of like, I don't know if it's a catch-22 or a rock in a hard place, but he seems to be stuck between this idea that they're both dangerous, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Libby, you kind of know what you're getting into because she's already made a move against him, and so he kind of knows what to expect. But Bradley, they've been sort of aligned this whole time, and so it's kind of like the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know when he's gonna turn, who he's gonna turn to, what he's gonna do. Like, it's too much of a risk to keep him into the merge, because once he hits the merge, like, he's gonna go buck wild.
Kim, what do you think is more dangerous in this circumstance? Keeping a dangerous opponent or keeping an unpredictable ally?
I think keeping an unpredictable ally. Like I said before, when you see how Bradley is with people, you can't trust him moving forward. He clearly, I don't find him loyal if he can treat his own alliance the way he treats them. And I definitely thought it was the right decision. I don't think it was an easy decision, but I also don't think it was as hard as, they made it out to be. But, you need to you have to toss it up in the air for us viewers, because if they keep the last 20 minutes, like we're just voting now, Bradley, it's boring.
Yeah, because if you give Malolo the chance to pull Bradley over, that's another number for them, and that'll shift things like considerably. And so for you, it's important to at least cut off that source for Malolo right now before they can do anything about it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, especially because
that's smart.
Dominic doesn't know as well the people that Bradley would have had the chance to make connections with, right? So it makes perfect sense to cut that off before it has the opportunity to sprout. I'm seeing in the chat that Blake is saying, he feels like Bradley got a bad edit and that he's really nice in person. I know we don't talk a ton about the edit, but I do agree with you, Blake. I think I like Bradley a lot, both as a character and as a person. I think the reason that it was so comfortable to give him this edit is Bradley embraces it. Like if you look at him on Twitter and stuff, I think he's enjoying it, or at least he's making the most of it. And that actually makes me like him even more. So
you need a villain. Like if we had like Libby or if we had all Libby and Kellens, do you know how boring the show would be? It would be boring. You don't need all nice, good people. You want the jerk. You want the person clapping in your face.
Yeah, but we still have the Dom versus Chris thing coming up.
I hope that they're both safe next week. Because it'll be darn boring if one of them go home.
Yeah, well, let's get through the tribal council and then let's revisit this sort of like what we want from the merge, right? Yeah. Because it's an exciting like second portion of the game. So we'll get through tribal council real quick. We know what the result is now, but I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I wasn't expecting what happened to happen because it was against what Navidi had been doing so far. So we do get some of this talk at tribal council about whether tribal lines will come into play. I thought it was all smoke and mirrors, right? I thought Dom was saying the right thing. I thought Bradley was saying the right thing. I thought everybody was being very, very careful. And I was actually surprised, which was nice.
In the middle of the tribal council, like Dominic sort of just shot a look at who was it next to him? I think it was either Libby or Chelsea. Kind of shot a look at her, and then they kind of sort of came to an agreement. I think that may have changed things from where it was originally going.
Dominic did say it was going to be a last-minute decision. I don't know how you make a last-minute decision like that, but it did look like it happened.
Yeah.
I do believe that 90% of the time they know what's happening when they head to tribal. There are times I believe it changes. But like something big, like when they start whispering and there's chaos, those are the best tribals. But I do think that like Bradley was still his jerky self at tribal, so he just solidified that they were making the right move.
Yeah, I do agree that most of the time it's probably set in stone beforehand. But the thing that makes me think there may have been a decision is that at some point Bradley reached this moment of self-awareness and nervousness, right? Did you guys sense that from him as well?
A little bit.
Yeah, and he started talking about how I don't think we argue a lot. I don't think we're being too argumentative. I just like conversation, and it felt defensive when nobody really seemed to have come at him.
But he also
don't know what was missing, but I feel like something happened that made him feel defensive.
But he also cut probes off at one point.
He totally did. He totally did. Right after he was saying, "Well, I don't want to be the argumentative one," and then Probe starts talking and says, "Well, I did want to say one more thing."
but
I'm sure that happens
Bradley
all the
also
time.
Said that he would argue about the color of the sky. I mean, he is a lawyer. Yep. That's his job, is to argue his case. Do we know what kind of lawyer he is? Anybody know?
He's a law student, and he said that he doesn't want to be a lawyer, so I have no idea what he's planning to do with that. But he's certainly surrounded by that all the time, so he can't escape that tendency, I think.
What can you do with a law degree if you're not a lawyer? And I'm not being a jerk. I'm just trying to figure that out.
He might not want to be a trial lawyer or something like that, but you can do a lot with it. You can basically work in people's legal
advisor or something.
A lot of
ACLU.
Stuff like that. Looking at contracts and stuff like that.
Okay. So he doesn't want to be like a litigator. He doesn't want to go to trial and.
I don't think so, but who knows?
But he's got the chops for it. That's for sure.
Certainly could.
Let me tell you something right now. He would be a great defense attorney. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The only other thing that I would want to bring up from this tribal council is something Libby said, since we were talking so much about Libby. Libby took a page out of Michael's book. Probably, I don't know if this was something that they kind of agreed to talk about when they were still on the same tribe or not. But she basically says, I was loyal to my alliance back then. I will bring that loyalty to a new alliance moving forward, which is pretty much exactly what Michael said to Bradley a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Do you guys like this approach, or do you not like this approach?
Yes.
You do
She
like
also
this approach.
said she didn't regret voting out Morgan. She said she did what she had to do. That's why I like Libby. This is why I like her, because she owns it. She's not trying to be anything else.
You know what I think one of the most interesting final tribal councils could be is if Libby and Michael are both sitting there with somebody that turned on Navidi, right? So you have a jury full of original Navidi who don't want to vote for the person who betrayed them and are choosing between Michael and Libby, who are both willing to say, I did that, I stand by it, and I would do it again.
So Michael, Libby, and Dom.
Could be.
Michael, Libby, Chris.
Michael, Libby, Chelsea.
Oh my gosh. Michael, Libby,
Chelsea makes it.
Chelsea would get no time.
Chewed up alive. Oh my God.
People would watch Final Tribal and be like, wait, what's her name again?
Absolutely.
No, that would be the case if Jenna makes it.
I keep on forgetting Jenna's there.
There you go.
I do forget she's there. So yeah, Bradley's voted out unanimously. I personally didn't think it was going to happen. I'm curious to know if you guys thought that was going to be the case or if it was going to be another Malolo.
I thought Bradley was going.
They gave us a couple hints here and there throughout the entire episode.
His reaction was perfect. Oh my God. Wow. He just kept on talking the whole way down. He just stopped. And I think I love Blindsides, and I do think he might have thought he might, but I do believe at the end of the day he thought he was safe.
Yeah. I think even if you begin to sniff it out at Tribal Council, I think you're still in disbelief when it actually happens.
Yeah, I believe he was blindsided. And I'm watching it with, I think, my brother, who doesn't really watch Survivor at all. And he watched the last few minutes because, of course, he's like, Libby's hot. I'm like, she is. and I'm like, but look at Michael, okay? I think that I was like, he's like, it's so obvious. They're just saying this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I know, but I legit don't know who's going home, even though I think it's Bradley. And his reaction was priceless. I love Blindsides. I think they're the best part of Survivor is when the person has no clue, especially when everyone turns on them, because Bradley had the numbers.
Yeah.
And you always go back in retrospect, and Bradley could have said, had I done this different, what if I would have not voted this person out and then kept them? Would I still be in the game? Because everything's a domino effect. It's the butterfly effect. You know what I mean? It's everything happens because of one decision you made the day before. Yeah.
Yeah. I love when they continue to talk all the way down the path.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
His sarcasm never stopped.
I know. It's so good.
The whole way down.
I love when people do that. I feel bad saying this because that includes like when people cry down the path. Like I feel bad, but I love all the raw emotion all the way down the path. I don't want it to stop.
My goodness. Yeah.
Well, I know this normally we would do the next time on at the very end, but we know that the merge is coming. So based on what's happening now in the game, what do you expect or want from the merge? We started to get into it. I think Kim, you were saying, was it you that was saying you want both Chris and Dom to stay?
Yes. I also want Michael and Wendell to stay, but I want Chris and Dominic to stay strictly for TV.
Sure.
They're with dynamic, and their dislike for each other makes great TV. I mean, they really dislike each other. There's just nothing likable. So what I'd love is for Chris to win individual immunity, Dominic to use his thing he can use at Final 13, right? He can use it tomorrow, next week. That, and obviously Michael and Wendell all use their idols, and we have a random crazy person go home, like, and just not being seen, like, out of left field. Like, holy crap, how did that, like, get serene. You know?
Gosh. No more of that.
but not as serene. Just someone like, who could it be? I like Donathan, so I need Donathan to stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be down. I would be down for a sort of Dom and Chris Cold War for a while, where the two of them are leading their sides, but instead of going directly at each other, either because it's not necessarily the right time to do it, or because they can't right away because of, idols or immunity or whatever, that they're taking out each other's allies until they can finally strike. Like, I'd be cool with that. I think that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Now, could Ken, what's her name? Kellen. She can't pass over her, what's it called, right?
I don't think so, because if this is what Sarah had, Sarah's wasn't transferable. So if she can give it away, then this is literally has nothing to do with Sarah's vote at all.
Okay.
So I would guess not.
Okay.
Yeah. Mark, anything you're hoping for from the merge?
I'm ready for chaos. So
as long as it's messy.
Oh,
as long as it's messy.
You know who else I totally forgot about? Angela. I forget about her too.
Yeah, I could see that scenario we were talking about, where Michael and Libby are sitting at the end. If that third person is Angela, then Michael and Libby are getting all the questions.
Angela's not proactive with the game either, so even if she makes it to the end, nobody will vote for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, let's pull up that draft, because I see you've got it.
I got it.
Want to give us the rundown?
Yeah, and so Randy's still in the lead. He'll gloat about it for days. And blah, blah, blah. Kim's in second place, I guess. And Saul has people. And I have the crappiest draft team ever. Like you guys said.
Do. You really, really.
Whatever. I own it. Whatever.
It is bad.
It is atrocious. I know. It
is. I mean, for you to be behind Saul and you won the last draft, okay? So you got to pick the order. I mean, you're usually pretty decent at your draft picks, but this was really bad.
I gotta let you guys feel good about yourselves sometimes, right?
I need to say that for me, I think I picked third, right? Third or fourth? I think I picked third.
You were third pick, yeah.
Yes, because I picked Brandon before Randy. Yes. I'm very happy with my picks for in the order I got to pick these people. To have Michael and Chris, and they were my last two picks, is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, for real.
But seriously, I'm only 1 point behind Saul, so I'm not even really that far behind. My people were decent. My people were decent.
Your people are invisible, so they're not going.
There you go. I'm happy with that.
I mean, Dominic, Donathan, or Desiree, what's her name?
Yep.
Desiree could go home.
I don't know about that.
I think that your two were safe next week. I will actually be surprised. Chelsea more than Angela's safer than Chelsea because you forget that Angela's there. So, but they do focus more on Chelsea.
I would be very, very surprised if Dom or Donathan went home next week, but I could see Des going home in a similar fashion to her name counterpart, Desi, where she goes home as the number of somebody else, like a close ally of somebody else.
Right, and understand that they are the ones who just flipped on Bradley. So you don't know what's going to happen come the merge, and they're like, what the heck? Why did you vote Bradley out?
Yeah.
And it could fall on Desiree, especially because I do believe that Dominic will use that final 13 thing.
I hope so. That would be silly not to. But he also has an immunity idol, so whatever.
Whatever.
All
right. So I guess at this point I give my last words about our dear friend Bradley. Bradley, this is just from me to you. Just whatever you did this game, if you ever come back, just don't do it. Stop everything and think everything through before it comes out of your damn mouth. like, oh my God. I don't even know what to say about this guy. Like he had the numbers and that was it. He didn't really do anything. But just mouth off and be a bitchy queen, and that's it. That's all I have for this guy. Bradley was a bitchy queen until the very end. There you go.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. So I guess this is the time at which we talk MVP, huh?
Oh, God.
So let's see. Would you like me to start?
Yes.
I'm ready to go. Okay. So this will give you some time. I'll stick with my method or my reasoning, but I'm going to pick somebody that I think might be unexpected. I think the person who got what they wanted based on what they did is Michael, because he did it twofold. Not only did he go out and find an idol to make sure that he made it to the next round, he also beasted that challenge by himself to make sure that he didn't even have to use it. So Michael, I think, single-handedly put his own fate into his own hands and made the merge all on his own. So my MVP is definitely Michael.
I'm countering, and I'm agreeing, and I'm giving it to Michael. And I've given it to him more than one time, and I'm going to give it to him again. He's really a great player, and I'm happy that he's getting recognized. I really am. He did everything he needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I can't argue with that. Mark, what would you say as far as MVP?
MVP? Bradley, because he finally left. How's that for MVP?
There you go. Trying to see. Blake says Libby for MVP for this episode. I could see that depending on like how much if the reason that Chelsea is so tight with Libby is because Libby is playing a strong social game, then I think Libby's set up for a long time. If that's what she's able to do, then yeah, I definitely think Libby is a strong player and deserves some MVPs here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, we talked a little bit about the next time on because we talked merge, but the big thing we saw that we've been wondering about for a long time is that Chris and Dom finally show down because they can't avoid each other any longer.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun to just see where everybody falls in.
Yeah.
Who do you think they'll be more loyal to?
It's interesting because I think that the original lines of Dom versus Chris aren't going to stay intact. I don't know if Wendell goes back to Dom or not. I think what Wendell does is going to be really, really telling for what everybody else does.
But at this point, the more prominent immunity threat is Chris.
Mm-hmm.
So yep. I'd be thinking most people will be aiming for Chris.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I think that they would go after Dominic first. I think Chris, they can get Chris out next time. I think Chris just has a better relationship with some of these people than Dominic does.
Only slightly.
And understand, Chris is going to remind them all about his idol. We're going to get right back into that idol conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's that. So it might be more up in the air than we thought.
Yeah, I know. I'm very curious to see how long this lasts, or if the merge will be the sort of conclusion to the Dom versus Chris thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Well, anything else about this episode to add, Mark?
What else is there to add?
I
don't know. I think we pretty much covered everything and then some.
Kim, anything else?
No, I think that we covered everything.
Cool. Yeah, so I guess we go into where people can find us, right? I'm at the point where I don't have a script anymore, y'all.
Nope. We're completely off script, people.
We're off script. All right, Mark, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm Marcopolo310.
Cool. Kim, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kim is bored. I don't need to say the underscores anymore. You'll still
people will find you. And as always, you can find me at Ickybooley, ICKYBOOLEY. Yeah. I don't know what the sign off is.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye. Bye.